Welcome to the Darwinian Delusions channel. This channel is dedicated to showing that Darwinism is speculative, based on assumptions, and the disputes that exist amongst evolutionary biologists about its most fundamental ideas. What I want to cover today is the pressure and the bullying and the environment around evolutionary biology which does not exist in any other scientific field. Now, the beauty of science is that you can challenge any scientific theory, any conclusion, any inference based upon a new interpretation of the data, which is always possible, or by new novel data which challenges previous conclusions. This is philosophy of science 101. But you can't do that with Darwin's theory of evolution, because it has become, even though it's a valid scientific model, theory and paradigm, it has actually become into a religion of itself. And this obviously cannot be a good thing for the advancement of science, because science works by challenging previous theories, conclusions and inferences. That's why we have all the technology that we have now. So Darwinists are actually hindering the progress of science. There was a book that was published a few years ago called What Darwin Got Wrong by the philosopher of science Jerry Fodor and the cognitive scientist Massimo Palmari. Now, both of these authors came under immense criticism when they published their book. Now, this book, all it really did was it challenged Darwin on two accounts. Firstly, the alternative models of evolution, the non-Darwinian models of evolution, and secondly, the logical and conceptual problems with Darwin's theory of natural selection. And interestingly enough, these authors knew they were going to come under immense criticism, because they knew they were about to challenge something which is not just a scientific theory like string theory, it is something which has actually become into a religion. And they do something you'll never ever find in any scientific field, in any author, philosopher of science or scientist who's challenging an existing scientific theory, which should be welcome. You'll never find them trying to pacify people in the community before they actually do so. And this is what they say in a section which is interestingly named Terms of Engagement. This is not a book about God, nor about intelligent design, nor about creationism. Neither of us is into any of those. We thought we'd best make that clear from the outset, because our main contention in what follows will be that there is something wrong, quite possibly fatally wrong, with the theory of natural selection. We are aware that, even amongst those who are not quite sure what it is, allegiance to Darwinism has become a litmus for deciding who does and who does not hold a properly scientific worldview. You must choose between faith in God and faith in Darwin, and if you want to be a secular humanist, you better choose the latter, so we're told. We doubt that those options are exhaustive, but we do want ever so much to be secular humanists. In fact, we both claim to be outright card-carrying, signed up, dyed-in-the-wool, no-holes-barred atheists. That's quite an admission. What's really interesting is they understand Darwin's theory of evolution is linked to the religion of evolutionary humanism, something which Julian Huxley, another atheist evolutionary biologist, decades ago, and one of the most important figures in the last 100 years in evolutionary biology, he spoke about evolutionary humanism being a religion without revelation. So these authors clearly understand that you have to give allegiance to Darwinism to be classified as somebody holding a properly scientific worldview. Even if you don't understand it, it doesn't matter. This is a religion which you must accept. Now, regardless of whether these authors were correct in terms of their alternative models of evolution and in terms of their criticisms of the logical and conceptual problems with natural selection, we can clearly see there is a discussion going on amongst secular atheist evolutionary biologists and evolutionary philosophers of science, about whether Darwin's core ideas were correct. And this is something which should be welcomed in science, not something where authors like Jerry Fodor is called a secular creationist, not, where you have personal attacks on these people, not in a situation where, other philosophers of science and other evolutionary biologists are scared to open their mouth and to speak out against, and simply say the emperor has no clothes. There's something seriously wrong with Darwin's theory of evolution. So what's very important for us to take away from this is, even though Darwin's theory of evolution is a working model, a working theory, a working paradigm, it is not absolute and disputes do exist. To find out more reasons why Darwinism is speculative based on assumptions and disputes that exist amongst evolutionary biologists about its most fundamental ideas, make sure you subscribe to the channel Darwinian Delusions.